Hey guys, Sundown here. This is going to be my chapter review to One Piece 955 Enma. Now, I was going to kind of, script it up, really condense it, and make a really solid kind of review, but I don't want to. This is going to be, I need to discuss this. This is probably going to be a 20-25 minute review. Hopefully I can make it a lot shorter than that. But there's so many different talking points that I really don't want to script it up. That'll take like a half hour, 45 minutes. I really don't want to do that. This will be a much more effective use of my time, and I think this is going to be awesome. So let's go straight into it. First thing we see is the cover page. We see Beige pointing up at this island, and he's like, yeah, we should go pick up our supplies on that island. The island looks surprisingly like the outside of what I remember Dressrosa looking like, and I think in the back we can see one of the buildings or something like that. It looks very familiar. And I think it could be Dressrosa, but I'm pretty sure Capone Gang Beige would know that he was approaching Dressrosa if he was. So I'm not sure what the island is or where the island is, but it feels like Dressrosa. So then coming to the first page, we see Hiyori, or what's her name, Komurasaki, whatever you want to refer to her as. She's there saying, I'm worried about Otoko, but I can't go with you to meet everyone. It's forbidden to rouse emotions before the start of a war, all that good stuff. And I'm confused as to why Komurasaki or Hiyori didn't really want to go and join them. Why she didn't want to see her younger brother Momonosuke. It's been 18 years, 20-ish years. I think it's been 18 years, right? Something like that. But it's been a very long time, between 18 and 20 years, that she hasn't seen her younger brother. She hasn't seen the other retainers like Kinemon, Kikunojo, Kanjuro, Raizo, all these guys, Ashura Doji. She hasn't seen any of these guys, so I'm surprised as to why she hasn't gone back. And I'm really hoping that through this chapter we find out that we know there's a betrayer amongst the people. There's a traitor amongst the allies that are going to go against Kaido and Big Mom and the Wano country. And I'm really hoping, seeing as she literally at the beginning of this chapter says that she can't go back, I'm really hoping she's not the traitor in their midst. It doesn't feel right that she was, but seeing as she has been in Wano for the last 18-20 years, seeing as she has been raised by probably someone who's really affiliated with the Yakuza and with Orochi, and seeing as Orochi did have a really big thing for her, I really hope Hiyori isn't the betrayer, because then it's going to have to be like Momonosuke versus his own sister who hasn't seen in years, and we know by the end of this chapter he still dearly loves. Everyone still dearly loves her, so I'm hoping that they don't have to fight her off or fight against her, and she turns out to be some powerful beast which they all have to kind of put down. That would be really depressing, really saddening. It'd be a really good way for the story to go, but I'm kind of thinking that it's not her, but I'm throwing it out there. So she bows down to Kawamatsu, and Zoro, she's like, yeah, go help out Wano, go be the saviors of Wano. So then we go to we're in Kuri again, we're in Amigasa village, which is the braided hat village, and everyone's going ape shit. Like I said, Kinemon, all the retainers, Momonosuke, that Hiyori is still alive. Apparently she used to be a tomboy when she was younger, and they ask her where she is and whether she's safe, whether someone's protecting her. Kawamatsu's like, yo, look, she's safe. He doesn't say where, but she's in the northern graveyards, we know that. Which is where Zoro and them lot were a couple chapters ago, when we saw the legend of the Shimotsuki family, I think it was, with the fox and everything, and we saw the guardian of the bridge and stuff like that turn into a fox and do one again. But everyone's glad that she's alive. Momonosuke thanks Zoro. He's like, you're the one who saved her. I'm forever grateful. She's actually a crybaby and stuff like that. She's actually weak. Zoro makes mention here, and this is another part where I'm just like, please don't be Hiyori. Don't let her be the traitor. But he even makes mention here to Momonosuke. He's like, how long are you going to live in the past? She's 18 years older than you are now. So it's not that it's been 18 years. It has been the full 20 years. She's just 18 years older than Momonosuke, seeing as she was, I think, 2 years younger than him. So that completes the whole kind of 20. And so he's basically saying like she's almost like your senior now, right? Sanji gets pissed off because he's like, yo, was that the really hot chick that was with you? He's there sucking up to Momonosuke. Zoro's like, dude, why are you sucking up to the kid? It's his older sister, younger sister technically. So then Tenguyama Hitetsu, which is his name, the Tengu guy, he's like, the preparations are complete. Is this really okay? He's talking to Kawamatsu. Kawamatsu's like, yeah, there's no turning back now. I think this is in reference to the blade Enma. And Hitetsu is then given back by Kikunojo, the Nidai Kitetsu, which is the sword of greater respect and of greater grade than Zoro's own Sandai Kitetsu, which is the third of the Kitetsus. And Zoro's just there like, yo, Kitetsu, I thought it was a famous blade. It's one of the Meito. But this is the important part here. So Tenguyama Hitetsu, he introduces himself. He says he's a bladesmith of Wano. For 20 years, he's been waiting for the day that he would be able to return these two blades to their rightful owners. So the blade said to be able to cut even the skies, the Ame no Habakiri, which is also in legend the same blade that was used by Susanoo to kill the Yamata no Orochi. So you can see how all of this is tying in. The blade that killed Orochi is still in this story, and it's here. And then we have the blade that's the blade that's said to even cut the heavens themselves, the skies themselves. And then we have the blade said to be able to slice through hell itself, Enma being the kind of lord of purgatory, the lord of hell in Shintoism, I think. And these are the two blades that Odin used, two long blades. He used the two long blade style, and they look awesome. They both have matching hilts, actually, which makes you think that they'd be forged by the same person, but I don't think they are. I think Enma and Ame no Habakiri have been forged by different people, and they're said to be on the same level as Shusui, so they're two great blades, two of the 21 great swords. So we have Hitetsu asking Lord Momonosuke, what he thinks of these. Well, he says here, what do you think of my masterpiece? Holding up the Ame no Habakiri to Momonosuke. And Momonosuke is like, I'm not afraid of it, even though I feel he is a bit. He's afraid of the pressure, the kind of the pressure, what's the word I'm looking for? The pressure of holding a blade that's so famous, that was used by his father. The history behind the blade. He's afraid of it, I do think. So he tells Hitetsu, he's like, no, you know what? You keep hold of the blade for a little while longer. And then we come to Enma. Actually, no, before Enma, Hitetsu does say, what do you think of my masterpiece, Lord Momonosuke? So it makes me feel like Hitetsu may have actually forged the Ame no Habakiri, which was used by Odin, but he did not forge Enma. We'll come back to that. And then he speaks to Zoro about Enma. He's like, this is your blade now. Let me just say this. Only one person was ever able to tame Enma, and that was Kozuki Odin. So try to cut that tree over there. So Zoro tries to cut the tree. Kinemon's really kind of a little bit afraid. He's like, yo, look, I'll be blunt with you, Zoro. If it were me, I wouldn't accept the blade. We see the reason why. Zoro cuts off literally a chunk of the coastline, which is where they're situated in Wano at the moment. And you see the effect that it has on Zoro. All of his muscularity and kind of energy and life from his arm is drained straight into the blade, and it's steaming like it's on fire or something like that. And Zoro has the willpower and the capacity to be able to command the blade to give him his life force and his energy back, and all of the haki kind of flows back into Zoro's arm, and it gives him that muscularity back, and the sword loses its blackness. But Zoro's there huffing and puffing, and this is where we find out that the sword Enma forces its wielder to release excessive amounts of ryuo, which is essentially haki. So it forces the wielder to release excessive amounts of haki, and will cause unnecessarily large and deep strikes. If it was just some normal swordsmen, they would have had all of their energy sucked out and collapsed immediately. So Zoro had his haki forced out into the blade. The blade is like a vacuum for haki, and becomes essentially a very, 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 very sharp blade as a result of that. But that drains the energy from its user, so it's a cursed blade to the fullest. But Zoro has the energy and the capacity, the will to be able to control the blade at least a little bit at this point in time. So Zoro is very impressed. He's like, yo, this is what it means to have a cursed blade. This is Enma. So he's basically there saying, so once I get used to this blade, will I be even stronger? Kawamatsu's impressed. We're all good. So we're still in Kuri Amigasa village, 3 days left until the raid. And this is where Robin's like, you know what, during my investigation I found out a few things. I was able to find out that Beast Pirate's army is around about 20,000 strong. The Shogun Orochi will have a procession of about 10,000 men during the Shogun procession that will be escorting him. In other words, they have 30,000 men strong. They are 30,000 men strong. There will be 30,000 men on Onigashima. So Ashura Doji is like, yo, look, we don't want to get the commoners involved. The enemy has a territorial advantage as well. So even with the blueprints of the mansion, we're still at a disadvantage. Kinemon is there kind of just in his head numbering all this up, tallying all this up. He's like, we have roughly 4,000 people. They have 30,000. That's going to rule out a straight up confrontation. We can't go head to head with these guys. But you do have Luffy, and he's more of a head to head kind of guy. So we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping Luffy actually sticks to some sort of plan here, because really 30,000 versus 4,000. That's a big difference. I know we got similar stuff on we got similar ratio maybe on Fishman Island, but these are samurai that we're up against, right? They're not just some jobbers. They're freaking Wano country samurai. They're going to be at least base level stronger than a lot of the fishmen, and maybe not straight physically, but in terms of like haki and just general mastery of combat. So we're still in Kuri, Port Itachi. We see Frankie commanding a whole bunch of these carpenters and stuff like that to get the ships ready as fast as they can. They need to be ready to carry about 10,000 people, 100,000 people, I think it is, even though they know that they're not going to get 100,000 people. And then they start placing bets on how many people they're actually going to receive. We go to the Udon prison in the mine where Luffy's still training. He uses a move called King Kong Gun that absolutely obliterates that steel mattress he was practicing on. But he's still not satisfied. He's like, it's not enough. And we get Old Man Hyogoro saying you're still using too much brute force. There needs to be kind of on this graph of like brute force to haki, or this new ascended form of haki. There needs to be more of the haki and less of the actual brute force. So then we're still in Amigasa village, still in Kuri. The bamboo forest, and this is where Momonosuke says to Zoro, he's like, yo, I was told not to say the word Tsunachi. We know the word Tsunachi was used in the past by all the samurai like Ashura Doji and his boys, as kind of like the shout of defiance, the shout of courage. You know, throw away your pride, throw away your name. It would be kind of their battle cry. And he was obviously disallowed from saying this by Kikunojo. And Zoro's just like, yo, you know what, the geezers in my village used to say it back then, so it's just something that I picked up. This is even greater proof, even larger evidence essentially that Zoro from his village, he had people from Wano at the least. Maybe his master, I've forgotten his name, some people from his village had to have been from Wano, because they were using words from Wano. They had a sword, Wado Ichimonji, which we'll come back to in a bit, which is had been forged by someone from Wano. So we'll get there. Amigasa village again, 2 days left until the raid. So it's a day since we saw Luffy, I think it is, training his King Kong gun. And we have Chopper come in with, what's her name, Otama and Luffy. Everyone's there to greet them. We see the other kind of Yakuza bosses saying that they've gathered 200 more people. Kinemon adds this to the tally. They have 4,200. They're yet to hear from Law. And this is where Shinobu's like, who cares if he joins or not? Obviously still beefing the fact that Law didn't want to leave his men to die. And I don't like Shinobu. I'm going to say it straight up. And if there's going to be another traitor, so there seems to be like a few different 4 different ideas of who the traitor could be. So I said Hiyori. I haven't really seen anybody else say Hiyori. I really hope it's not, but like just the way the first page went, I was like, she could be. I don't think she is though. Could it be Shinobu? Yeah, it could be Shinobu, because she just seems to be a straight bitch, and she doesn't seem to like anybody apart from like the Straw Hats. But I feel like she's got a stick up her ass, and probably there's a reason why. It could be Law. We see that at the end. I doubt it's Law. We've been through so much with Law. I doubt it's Law. Maybe if his crew are being held captive, but his crew are not being held captive and they're free. So I doubt he's actually the traitor. And then the last one, so we went through, and then the last one would be Beppo and company, probably under pressure from hearing that their captain had been captured and they were going to do anything to release him. It could be Shinobu and it could be Beppo and company. I think at the highest, they're the most suspicious, especially Beppo and company. We know they're the kind to maybe do that. So I'm really hoping it's not Hiyori, but if it's Beppo and stuff, I'd be really disappointed. Like, I'd fully be disappointed that it was them that kind of sold out Luffy and company, but they haven't been with Luffy. They don't know him very well. It's really only Law that has that affiliation and that kind of bond with the Straw Hat Pirates. So Luffy's asleep. We see this guy in the flower capital, Rosetsu district, and right next to the prisoners' showcase. And he says it's regretful to say, but there's nothing I can do to free them. Even their families have been caught. Kinemon makes mention of the fact that the hardiest of samurai are in there. So it makes me wonder if that blonde samurai guy, he's got the like overcoat like all of them actually do. I feel like he's actually really strong. He looks to be quite big, quite buff, and he's got like blonde hair, but he looks cool. So I think he might be really strong. Hopefully he'll be let out. But they're inside the prison essentially, really pissed off at the fact that, you know, this is our final chance. All of our brothers, all of our samurai friends are gonna go and kick some ass in Onigashima, probably die. We don't know. Basically, this is very, very reminiscent, especially in the kind of little narrative part we get at the end, where it's just developing the story of the 9 individuals who are crossing the desert to get to Port Tokage, I think it is now. But it sounds very, very kind of 47 Ronin-ish, and I think that there's some influence there, because that is a very, very traditional and famous Japanese story. So like, this is once again that kind of thing of like, you have these other samurai who are in prison who want to go and fight, but they're just not able to. So they're annoyed about that. Kinemon's talking to everyone else on the on one of the snail transponders, that one of these, I think it's one of the other types of Denden Mushi, and he's just there like, use the remaining time you have, everyone, to prepare to move out for the upcoming battle, all that good stuff. What the hell was that? And he said, we shall meet at the promised port, so that's Tokage, and they were like, yeah, good stuff. So everyone's preparing to move out, everyone's preparing for the actual fight, everyone's getting ready to move. So we're back in Kuri, Amigasa village, the Braided Hat village. 1 day left until the raid. Kinemon tells Luffy and company, he's like, we got to get there ahead of everyone else. We're the leaders, and you know, they have to see us in person, and we have to be there first, so that when they get there, they're motivated, bonus galore, everyone's going to be ready for us. So that's why we need to be there first. We're the leaders, right? So Luffy's like, alright, cool. The Sunny is here on the beach. We'll use that to get there. You guys go ahead. So Kinemon's like, well, he tells Kinemon not to get captured. Kinemon's like, alright, cool. They have a cool handshake and stuff like that. And then they leave. And then we get this awesome kind of just descriptive part where I think it's just some sort of narrator really talking about the Wano, talking about the red scabbards, and talking about what's going to happen. So we're essentially told about how there are countless industrial chimneys all across Wano, but there are more. What there are more of as opposed to those chimneys are slave laborers essentially beneath those chimneys, and we see a few of them working. And this is where you start to see in the background people, their hope is being rekindled, just like in these forges. So it's like, one of the guys is there talking to another guy, and he's like, is it true? And what do you mean? Then we go across Wano, and we hear about a lady talking to a man saying, Lord Yasui, apparently he covered for the red scabbards. That paper that they had, apparently it wasn't just a prank, it was a message for a raid. And everyone's talking about it. All these people, all the people that, they're not really talking about it to people who would rat them out, but what I'm trying to say is that a lot of people seem to know that it wasn't a fake, so maybe it's not just a secret anymore, and that's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing, because it means people like Orochi have found out. So there are old guys saying, don't give me false hope. We saw what happened to the Kozuki family 20 years ago. You know, even if Kinemon and them lot survived, their spirits will have been crushed. They will not be the same people they were back then. You know, they will be broken people. We see this old guy, he's like talking about Kinemon and stuff. He's like, they won't be able to stand up again, and we will never be free. In a closed off country like this, no help will come, and even if it does come, who's going to be able to stand up against Kaido? So it's kind of depressing and sad to see that this guy, he collapses to the ground, probably dying, with the idea and with the kind of firm belief that they will never be free. They're just going to be here as slaves. They're going to die as slaves. They're going to die dishonored. And that's their future essentially. So then we get this awesome double spread where we see the 7 of the red scabbards of the 9. We have one ninja who's Shinobu, who I think may be a traitor, may not be, and then we have one leading figure who's right at the front, Momonosuke, and we get this awesome kind of build up. They depart in silence, they walk upon the withered earth, the land's hollow cries ringing out like the winter frost. So essentially it's like the ground is so dry that they're walking on it, it has a crunching sound to it, just like if you were to walk on hoarfrost. Then we see the sun burning bright, it's midday, and we see these 9 shadows essentially crossing these burning plains, burdened with the weight of being unable to avenge their master for the last 20 years, even though technically they haven't been alive for the last 20 years. And they wander across these lands as ghosts. This is so awesome. This is the part that really reminded me of the 47 Ronin, you know? Just these kind of like these ghosts, these individuals who weren't supposed to come together, who weren't supposed to be where they were. They've come back, and what's their goal? Their goal is to avenge their master, to regain the honor of having been unable to protect their master. This is full 47 Ronin. But I thought it was super awesome. We then see where Zoro and everyone else are. So still in, I think, outside Amigasa village. We see the graves of Yasui and Pedro. We see Otoko. We see one of the musketeers. We see Carrot. We see, what's her name? Wanda, I think it is. Is it Wanda? They're there essentially at the grave of Pedro and Yasui, and they're saying, if we emerge victorious, we will make sure to build them grander graves. So that's all cool. We come to this part. Tenguyama Hitetsu is talking to Zoro, and he's like, boy, are you getting used to Enma? That sword you wield, the Sandai Kitetsu, is my creation. So he's taken responsibility for the creation of the Sandai Kitetsu, the third of the Kitetsus. He hasn't said anything about Nidai, and he hasn't said anything about Shodai Kitetsu. So he may not have forged those, but he did imply that the Ame no Habakiri, which was whose blade? Momonosuke's blade. Now, that might have also been forged by him. So this is actually really cool, this part. He says they are similar in that neither can be wielded by the weak in the sense of the Sandai Kitetsu and Enma. But he says there's a reason for why Zoro is getting used to Enma so quickly, and it's because the white sword that he wields, which is the Wado Ichimonji, and Enma, they were both forged by the same person. They were both made by the same person, birthed by the same person, whatever you want to say. His name was Shimotsuki Kozaburo. And I think Manga Stream actually translated this a little bit differently, and I'm not sure which one it could be, to be fair. Let's see what Manga Stream said. They said his name was Yusaburo Shimotsuki. So there's two different names: Shimotsuki Kozaburo and there's Shimotsuki Yusaburo. It could be either one, to be fair. It doesn't really make a difference. One of the names is right. And this guy who forged both Wado Ichimonji and who forged the blade Enma, he left the country illegally over 50 years ago. And he's saying that perhaps this is why Hiyori gave you that blade, because she noticed which other blades you had, and she thought, you can't have one blade and not the other. You're going to have the pair. So I think it's awesome that Zoro now has matching blades. He has the white blade, and then Hitetsu makes mention here. He's like, Enma has yet to become a black blade. I'm sure that with you it will rise in rank. So I think someone from one of the translators from Manga Stream actually says he's specifically talking about rank here. So he's not just saying that the blade's going to become a black blade. He's saying that you're going to raise it from a 21 grade sword into the supreme grade swords, which is awesome. But what was more important for me was that Zoro will now have two matching blades, essentially. He's going to have Wado Ichimonji, the white blade, and then he's going to have Enma, the black blade. So if he makes it a black blade. So that's just, the color coordination for me. Yes, just do it. I'm so excited. So then we see Luffy training against the tree. He lightly punches it. His arm is clad in haki, but the back of the tree completely blows out. A chunk of it just goes missing. It looks like Luffy has at least mastered the basics of this new second form of Buso Shoku no Haki. We then go to the flower capital. We're in the palace of the shogun. He says he finds out that udon is fine. Apparently there are no problems there. That sounds like a false report. And then he's referring to someone. He's like, how dare he do something so untrustworthy? Oh, well, as long as I can suppress it, it will be okay. Then he says something really, really... This is the part where we're like, who's the traitor in our midst? He says the port has changed from Port Habu to Port Tokage, and Kozuki Hiyori is alive and she's at the northern graveyard. So he knows where Hiyori is. He knows that the meeting point has changed, and who the frick would sell them out like that? We don't know. Shinobu or Beppo. One of the two. Or it could be someone completely different who we're unaware of. But Hiyori is now in danger, and so are the people who are going to meet at Port Tokage. So now, with that, clear blue skies, cherry blossom scattering, all that good shit, the war that will shake the fate of the world itself will now begin. Wano Country Act 2 has finished. So much to talk about there, like I said. I've gone through pretty much all of it, and I'm pretty much spot on 25 minutes here. Sorry for the long ass review, but there was so much to talk about, especially in relation to the fact that, you know, this Shimotsuki Kozaburo guy might actually be, or Yuzaburo might actually be Zoro's master, or maybe the father of his master or something like that. They left Wano 50 years ago. That doesn't mean they trained Zoro 50 years ago. Zoro then came to the village, was found by the guy, and was trained up and was given Wado Ichimonji. But it's a bit weird how he gave this kid Wado Ichimonji. I know it was like Kurenai's, was it Kurenai? I don't know what her name was anymore. Zoro's friend's blade. But, you know, it's a very, very prestigious blade by the sounds of things. You know, Wado Ichimonji, we know it's a very, very highly ranked sword. But the fact that it's kind of the pair to Enma, not necessarily that they're both used together, but the fact that both were forged by the same swordsmith, or blacksmith even, that's a very, very important bit of information. We see Law at the end here. I don't think he's a traitor. I think he's there kind of aware of possibly the alliance between Kaido and Big Mom, and I think he's getting ready to save the asses of everyone involved. You know, all the allies that we have, he's getting ready to save them somehow, somewhere. Law is that guy. You know, he's been thinking about all the underlying issues, where Zoro and Luffy have been getting stronger and stronger and stronger, getting ready to lead, getting ready to attack head on. What I'm hoping is Law is going to do his thing, go undercover and really help from behind the front lines, way behind the front lines, in the shadows. And then I'm hoping once he's done all of his dirty deeds in the back, he'll come to the front and get ready to kick some ass. That's what I'm hoping Law's doing. But he does look to be very serious, as if he's just found out some big time information. So let me know what you guys thought of this chapter. Let me know what you guys thought of this review. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And I will see you guys in a bit.